Rings of Power Season 2 premieres on Amazon Prime, was it August 29th? In the middle of the night. I don't know exactly what the time is, but I think my time, it's like 2 in the morning. And they're going to drop 3 episodes of the 8-episode season. I believe it's 8 episodes, which is very interesting that they're just dropping it in the middle of the night. Season 1, I believe they premiered each episode weekly at like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or something like that. But I think it's very odd that they're just dropping it in the middle of the night. Just the first 3 episodes too, no less. So it's a pretty good chunk of the entire season just dropped all at once. And I can't help but wonder, because they're releasing 3 episodes, and as opposed to the season 1, which premiered 2 episodes, but now that they're dropping 3, I can't help but think that this is just a manufactured way to bump their viewership numbers to be greater than season 1. I just can't help but think that's the motivation for tacking on another episode for their premiere. You're also dropping it in the middle of the night, so I don't know what they're thinking when it comes to viewership. These 2 strategies seem to be clashing. If you're trying to get more views, I don't know why you would not drop it in primetime viewership for most of the audience. But then also 3 episodes dropping at the same time, I just feel like they're gonna try and do some sort of manufactured bumping up the numbers so they can have the headline, "Oh, it beat the numbers of season 1." If we see headlines like that, then I'll know for sure. I'm really interested to see how season 2 is going to play out, but in particular when it comes to budget, spending, and viewership. So for a season that cost $465 million without the rights, so $700 million with the rights, only 37% of US viewers finished season 1. So for domestic viewership, only 37%. International numbers was at 45%. In light of the budget now, knowing that, I'm even more astounded that they even continued to greenlight a season 2. Just from viewership and just from spending, but maybe they've already set aside $1 billion for Rings of Power, but I don't think they're going to make it. If that was in the contract, $1 billion, 5 seasons. But if you've already spent almost half of that in your first season with such poor viewership numbers, I would be upset. If I was Jeff Bezos and you wrote a check for that much money and this is the viewership that you got. I mean, look at what just happened with The Acolyte. They spent $180 million on 8 episodes, although it was like 30-minute average episodes. $180 million, and the most low viewership ratings by far for any of their live action Star Wars shows. They tuned in. The initial 2 episodes, I think, had some decent numbers. I think it broke Nielsen top 10, but that was in the subcategory top 10 of the originals content, not the actual like top 10 of all streaming. It was for original content. They broke into the top 10 for the first 2 episodes and then just fell off. And I think the finale episode got back on there, but was so far below any previous Star Wars live action finale. It just fell off a cliff in viewership, like 50-60% lower viewer ratings than previous shows. That was just for $180 million in comparison. And you spent $465 million, and 37% are the ones that finished it domestically and 45% internationally. That's insane. So in light of this news, I'm really interested to see the fate of this show moving forward when it comes to viewership. And again, that's why I think they probably are aiming to bump up the numbers for the premiere, which is why they're releasing 3 episodes. But they're going to look at the numbers overall, over the whole season. So I'm sure those first numbers are going to be high. And there's going to be those headlines. Oh, it broke new records for season 2, broke new records, higher than season 1. But overall viewership, we'll see how are they going to sustain that? Because they couldn't sustain it in season 1, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of changes. I mean, there's no changes in writers or showrunners, so I don't know why you would expect a difference in quality there. I won't be tuning into this until I see some reviews. And I don't trust a lot of official critics' reviews. There's like only a few people that I trust. Let's just be honest, none of the choices they've been making have made any sense. Yeah, there's a lot of issues I've had that they just want bigger battles, more action, more monsters, and that's kind of been how they've been selling season 2 primarily. It's bigger and better and darker, that I've never really seen anything as far as the story that has given me any hope. And when you're building off the foundation of season 1, it's hard to do. They can really just rely on visuals, which the visuals have been impressive. They've been working with Weta Workshop, who did a great job on season 1 as far as the orcs and the prosthetics, makeup. They did great. I had no issues with that. They know how to do their job. Everything Weta Workshop does is great, so that's good, but it wasn't enough to sustain viewership for season 1. And there are some impressive visuals, but those visuals were probably like just the best part in the trailer. You have this whole season of show and people are going to have to talk to each other, and you're going to have this dialogue. And I have seen some clips of actual scenes, and the dialogue has not impressed me. It's kind of been a little cringe. I compartmentalize it now that it's very expensive fan fiction. And we'll see if we'll even get 5 seasons. I thought it was a sure thing from the outset. This is huge, because I didn't know about these contracts as far as that they had already set aside $1 billion, 5 seasons. But now that we know they've already spent $700 million, including the rights, for those first 8 episodes, yeah, I'm curious. I can see why they're not as sure as they were before